Welcome to the virtual job fair training. I'm Karen Durkee with Corporate Gray, and I'm joined by Carl Savino.
Good afternoon, everyone. The purpose of this virtual job fair training is to give you as much information as possible to prepare you for Friday's event. Karen?
Yeah, we're going to show you what to do before, during, and after the event. And there is especially a lot you can be doing now to prepare, which is why we hold this training a few days ahead of the event. And everything that we show you in this training webinar today is also in the training guide that you received. If you did not receive a job seeker training guide, it's a PDF. And if you didn't receive it, be sure and send me an email. I put my address in the chat box, and I'll be sure that you get that PDF after the webinar. You need to register for the job fair in two places, on Corporate Gray Online and also on eCareer Fairs, because eCareer Fairs is the actual virtual platform where the event will take place. And by registering in both places, this makes your resume accessible to the recruiters in both places. And also you can search for jobs and research the companies using both of these platforms. If you haven't yet registered on the eCareer Fairs site, the link, I put the link to the eCareer Fairs March 26th event in the chat box. And that link not only takes you to register if you haven't registered yet on eCareer Fairs, but it will also later, after you're registered, that same link will take you directly to the lobby. So let's go straight to the things you can do to prepare now for the event. And I'm going to show you these things that you can do on the eCareer Fairs website, as well as the things you can do on Corporate Gray's website. And the things that you do on Corporate Gray, it's the same preparation that you would do if you were coming to an in-person job fair. So we'll cover all of these. First, let's cover the eCareer Fairs platform and what you can be doing today. If you don't have this link directly to the lobby for the March 26th event handy, that's okay. You don't have to have that link once you're registered. You can just go to ecareerfairs.com. So that's really all you have to remember. And when you go to ecareerfairs.com, you're going to click on job seekers. And I want to show you some things. So I'm going to bring that up in my browser here to show you some things that you can do to prepare on the eCareer Fairs site. So I'm already registered for the event on eCareer Fairs, and if I just put ecareerfairs.com in my browser, it brings me to this home page, and I'm going to click on Job Seekers. And it's going to ask me to log in. So you put in your email address and then your eCareer Fairs password. If you don't know your password or you've forgotten it, you can click on that reminder and it'll send you an email. And then click on Sign In as Job Seeker. It might show some random events here that you might be interested in. If it does, just click on this, I am not attending, and continue. And now it's going to bring you to your My Events page. If you went directly to the lobby, you can always get back to this My Events page. I really like this page rather than going directly to the lobby because, first of all, it shows me all of the events that I've registered for on eCareer Fairs in the past and the ones that I'm registered to attend in the future. So you can see I've got quite a few events here. And of course, we're going to concentrate on this one, the March 26th, this Friday's event. The reason I like this My Events page instead of going directly to the lobby is because it gives me a few additional icons here. And you might see these icons right down below the event here. It depends on what browser you're using and how many events you have stacked up. But if you don't see those icons, just hover over that 3 vertical dots, the More icon, and it will show you these icons. And this will let you share the event if you want to send it to someone. This icon lets you view your conversation history, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. Because when you have these text conversations with recruiters, it's going to save the transcripts and you'll be able to view those after the event. So that's how you do that. This is where you can actually enter the lobby of the event if you didn't go directly to it. And this icon here lets you edit your registration details for that event. So for instance, if you've updated your resume since you registered for the job fair, here is where you can click on this and upload your new resume. Whatever resume you've aligned with this job fair registration, that's the resume that the recruiter is going to be viewing while they're chatting with you at the event. So you can change that here if you want. Now, before we go to enter the lobby, there's one other thing I want to show you. Well, two other things actually. I mentioned landing on this My Events page, and if you get lost and you want to get back to your My Events page, you can do that by hovering over this, this menu icon in the upper right. If you click on that, it's also called the My Career Fairs page. So if I click on that, it takes me to the same place. So if you ever get lost and you want to get back to My Events, just click on the menu up here and it's My Career Fairs. And the other thing I wanted to show you up here in the top right is how you can edit your account. And if you have not yet uploaded your photo to your eCareer Fairs account, you'll want to do that. And if you don't have a photo, you're going to just see a Head and Shoulders silhouette here. So you want to click on that thumbnail and click on Edit Account. And this is going to let you edit your eCareer Fairs account information, and even more importantly, upload your picture to your account. We definitely recommend you upload your photo, and we also encourage recruiters to upload their photos as well. The reason is, while you're having these text conversations during the event with recruiters, they'll see your photo if you've uploaded it, and you'll see theirs. And it helps you make a much more personal connection with the recruiter while you're having a conversation with them. So you just click on the My Picture tab here. You could browse on your device to your photo, select it. It will resize it for you to fit on your account, and then you just click Finished. And also while you're here on the Edit Account page, you can test your video. The conversations that you have with recruiters will start as a text chat, so kind of like an instant message. But the recruiter has the ability to change the text chat while they're talking with you to a video chat. So you want to be prepared for that. So before the event, you can test your video, and we recommend you do this using the same device and browser that you plan to use for the event on Friday. So go ahead though today and you can test your video by clicking here, and it will let you test video and audio and see how it looks. You might even do that again Friday morning when you're coming to the event, just to double check it. Chances are you won't be switched to a video chat, but it is definitely possible. It's an option that the recruiter has. So again, that was all under my thumbnail icon here. I click Edit Account, and it takes me to these three tabs. So let's go back to the My Events or My Career Fairs page and find that March 26th event. And I want to show you some things in the lobby. So I'm going to click on the event lobby icon. And the first thing you see is there's 2 pages of booths in the lobby. So I scroll through the first page of booths and notice that you can see all the booths today. So this is everything I'm showing you now. This is live now on the eCareer Fair site. So we definitely recommend you go to the lobby today. Don't wait till Friday. Go to the lobby and start doing your research on the companies, their jobs, and the recruiters that are going to be coming to the event. And I'll show you how to do all that. So here, for example, You'll see the company name. You can click on View Profile to see their whole company description. You can preview the booth. And let me preview SAIC's booth. You can see when you click Preview the booth, this is very similar to how the booth is going to look like during the event on Friday, but you can preview the booth now, and it shows you a little bit more about SAIC. There's some information, that the company profile, there's the jobs icon, which I'll talk about again in a minute. But also you can see what recruiters at SAIC are going to be attending the event. Now, it doesn't let you enter their conversation queue. You can't do that until the event starts on Friday. But you can get a lot of information. And especially if the recruiter added their greeting, you can see here this recruiter added their greeting. And a lot of times their personal greeting that they put in the booth gives you a lot of information about what they're looking for or what location they're looking for job seekers and the jobs to fill. So be sure to check out the recruiters and check out their greetings and really start to make your game plan for who you want to visit on Friday and who you want to start a conversation with. So look at all this information about that company that I can get. And there's even more information beyond this that I'll show you. Also, it just gets you familiar with what the booth is going to look like during the event. And we'll talk about the general questions and some other parts of the booth when we talk about how the event works during the event. But I definitely want you to scroll through the lobby, click on all these previews, and not only seeing what recruiters are going to be coming, but it gives you their name. It doesn't give you their email address. You can't reach out to them there, but you can find them on LinkedIn, for example, and reach out to them on LinkedIn. Invite them to join your network and let them know that, hey, you saw them in the SAIC booth or whatever company booth, and you're looking forward to meeting with them this Friday at the event. So that's a great way to reach out to these recruiters ahead of time. And they might be reaching out to you ahead of time as well. Like I said, they have access to your resume on both Corporate Gray Online and on eCareer Fairs. Also, besides the preview link, right now in the lobby, you also have access to this briefcase icon, this jobs link. And let me show you, for example, Chemonics International's jobs link. If I click on that, well, let me do ARAs first. If I click on, nope, that was a bad example. Hang on. If I click on this jobs link, there's going to be a link to all of that company's jobs on Corporate Gray Online. Most of the attending companies have all of their jobs posted on Corporate Gray Online. So when you click on this briefcase icon and you see this posted elsewhere link, that link takes you to run a search on all that company's jobs on Corporate Gray. And I'll just show you what that looks like. If I click on that, it's going to take me over to Corporate Gray Online. It opened up the window and it ran a search for me on that company name. And we'll talk about that when we talk about Corporate Gray. But I just wanted you to know that that link to all these companies' jobs are right here in the jobs icon. But also, if you look at Chemonics, for example, not only do they have that link to all of their jobs on Corporate Gray, but this recruiter also posted some hot jobs directly to their booth as well. So if you see some jobs, and when I clicked on ARA, you saw that they had posted quite a few hot jobs directly to their booth. So you definitely want to click on the more and explore these as well. So 2 ways that you can see those companies' jobs. By clicking on the jobs icon, you'll see all of their jobs posted to Corporate Gray, and also any hot jobs that they posted directly to their booth. And all of that is great information for you to do your research ahead of time and know how you would fit at that company, how your skills match to what their needs are. The goal here is to come to the job fair on Friday and don't come meet with a recruiter and say, well, what have you got? What are you looking for? What do you need? Come prepared to tell them exactly what jobs you found that you're a good match for at their company, and here's why. And you could even let them know, and this job I already applied for because I'm such a good match for it. And if you come prepared with that information and share that with the recruiter while you're talking with them, that conversation is going to be that much more valuable than if you just came to the booth and talked with the recruiter without having done any research. So that's one of the reasons we're really trying to get you to do your research and come to the lobby ahead of time to really explore the booths. Something else you might see on the booths, you might see a video link if the recruiter attached a video to their booth, and that would be a video that tells you more information about their company or their job opportunities. And also some recruiters have attached documents. Like for example, here, the Postal Service, their recruiters have attached some PDFs and also some links to their careers page to their booths. So there's a lot of information if you study these icons in the lobby for each booth to help you do that company research. And then again, like I said, don't forget there's 2 pages of companies. So once you've explored page 1 of these booths, make sure you go to page 2 and explore those booths as well. And during the event, you'll see 2 pages as well of booths. So those are things you can do on e-career fairs now to really start preparing. But there's also a lot that you can do on Corporate Gray as well. So I'm going to show you just very quickly how you can both search and apply to jobs on your Corporate Gray account and do a little bit more company research there as well. So let's go back to my Corporate Gray account now. And here I just went to corporategray.com, and you're going to click the login in the upper right corner and put in now this is your Corporate Gray username and your Corporate Gray password. Oftentimes your Corporate Gray username is your email address, and you click login, and it's going to land you on your Corporate Gray dashboard page. And on your dashboard page, you're going to see under registered job fairs, the first event listed is going to be the March 26th. You might be registered to other upcoming job fairs, but the first one you'll want to see is March 26th. That's this Friday's event. And I want to show you that because if you click View Job Fair, there's a lot of information on this job fair page on Corporate Gray Online. So if I scroll down to the attending employers list, you can see that not only can I click on each company's name to be taken to their profile and see the company description and a link to their website, but also if the company has their jobs posted on Corporate Gray, I can click the link here and I'll show you if I click this, it's going to run that job search, just like I showed you with Eastern's jobs. And it fills in the company name for me over here, but there are other filters where I can filter down more to find jobs that I'm specifically looking for. I could put in some keywords, or I could search by state, and there's some other filters as well. So if I don't want to scroll through 39 jobs, I can try to narrow it down. And then once I see a job that I'm interested in, I can click on the job or click the view button, and it's going to show me more about that job. And if I'm interested enough to apply to it, I click apply for this job here, and it's going to actually take me off of Corporate Gray and over to that company's job board, to that job, so that I can apply through that company's system. So you can actually apply for the jobs from Corporate Gray. When you see a job on Corporate Gray, you can click on this and it will take you over to that job board to actually apply for that job. So that was all from this job fairs page on Corporate Gray. And the other thing we have here on this job fairs page is a LinkedIn network button. And what that does, when I click that, it does not take me to that company's LinkedIn page. It actually takes me to my LinkedIn account. If you're logged into LinkedIn in this browser, it's going to open your LinkedIn and it's going to do a people search on who you're connected to at that company. And it might come up with people that aren't necessarily recruiters, but they're people who work at that company that you're connected to on LinkedIn. And these are great people to reach out to ahead of the event. Message them on LinkedIn. Let me click on one of these just to show you an example. If I click on for the company Hiab, I click on the LinkedIn network, it's going to open my LinkedIn. And it's running a people search. Actually, they also go by Cargo Tech. So it ran a people search for me and it shows me who I'm connected to at that company. And I can click on them, go to their profile, invite them to join my network, or if they're already in my network, I can message them. And if they are a recruiter, and actually this first recruiter here just happens to be one of the people at Hiab that's going to be participating in the booth on Friday. So she would be a great person for me to reach out to. But it doesn't have to be the recruiter. Anyone who works at that company, you can reach out to them on LinkedIn, let them know that you're interested in working at their company. Do they have any information they could share with you? How do they like working there? Do they have any advice for you? There's so much information that employees of a company can share with you, even if they're not in a recruiter role or a hiring role, that you can still learn a lot about the company from those employees. So we definitely recommend you take advantage of your LinkedIn connections, and we help you do that on our job fairs page here. I think I've covered all that. So let me go back to my slides. So that was all the things you can do now on eCareer Fairs and all the things you can do as well on your Corporate Gray online account. And besides those two platforms, we also sent you an employer directory. You should have gotten a PDF from Corporate Gray in an email. And that employer directory has those company descriptions and the company websites of all the companies that are coming Friday. And it also has, if the company gave us a hot job summary, that's included in the employer directory too, to help you know what that company is focusing on filling at the event. So definitely use your employer directory as well to do that research this week. Also, we recommend you prepare your questions for recruiters. And as you're doing this company research, you might find that you think of questions that you want to ask either any company or a specific company that you researched. Maybe you have a specific question for that company's recruiter. Start typing these questions up that you want to ask recruiters as you think of them. Put them in a Word document or a text document. And that way you won't forget to ask them while you're chatting with the recruiter. And also you can just copy and paste into the text chat and it makes your conversation go a lot smoother. Plus you can use the spell check in your Word document and make sure that what you're pasting in is grammatically correct and looks good. It's articulate. And besides preparing your questions you want to ask, also think about what they're probably going to ask you in your conversations and prepare those answers as well. And we put all these answers in that training guide we sent. These questions are all there for you so that you don't have to worry about jotting these down. Also in that training guide, we included this pre-event checklist, just so you can make sure that you feel ready. Yep, I did all that on my eCareer Fairs account. And then I also did my research and I searched companies' jobs on Corporate Gray. And then also just preparing for your conversations as well. It makes your text chat go a lot smoother if you've prepared some of the things that you're going to type in advance. The text conversations are 10 minutes in length, but you or the recruiter can end it sooner than that. Or the recruiter, as they're talking with you, they can also extend that time if they so choose. So I know that's a lot of information, but I spend most of the webinar talking about the preparation and what to do before the event. But I also want to touch on how the event's going to work on Friday and what it's going to look like. So I've got some screenshots to show you, how an event looks live. And so I'm going to show you all of these things. And once again, you're going to, once you log into eCareer Fairs, you're going to, from that My Career Fairs or My Events page, you're going to click on that event lobby icon, and that's going to take you to the March 26th event lobby. And notice this is how it's going to look during the event. This is a screenshot of a previous event, but it looks very similar to what I showed you that you can see now in the lobby. Except for instead of previewing the booth, now during the event, you're going to see this reps icon and it'll show you how many recruiters are in the booth currently. And you can either click on the company name or on this reps icon and it will take you to the booth. And also during the event, you're going to have this blue event status bar at the bottom of your screen. This is a nice shortcut. Anytime you click on this Corporate Gray's virtual, this title here at the bottom, it will always take you back to the lobby. So that's a nice shortcut. Plus, it shows you how much time is remaining, and it gives you the link to leave the event, which we'll talk about in a minute. But there's even more information in this status bar at the bottom of your screen. So click on that down arrow to expand it, and you'll see that it also gives you some shortcuts, and it shows you what queues you're waiting in, what conversations you have coming up. And I'll talk about how you get in that queue and how those queues work. But also it shows you if you have any invitations from representatives. If any recruiters have sent you an invitation, this might be 0. If this number is 0, don't be discouraged because a lot of recruiters don't take advantage of that option to search the resumes ahead of time and invite candidates to come to their conversation queue. But you definitely want to check this when you first log into the event on Friday morning. Because if you do have any invitations, if this number is higher than 0, click on the number and it's going to take you to view your invitations. And I'll show you what that looks like. So here you see I have an invitation from a recruiter at Edward Jones, and it tells me their name. And it gives me the thumbs up or thumbs down. So if I click thumbs up, that's accepting their invitation. And the reason you want to do this is, first of all, that recruiter found me. He went to the trouble of searching my resume and noticing that I might be a good fit for his roles and inviting me to have a conversation with him. So when I click accept to accept that invitation, it automatically puts me in that recruiter's conversation queue rather than having to go to that booth and enter that person's conversation queue. I'm automatically, as soon as I press accept, I'm put in their conversation queue. That doesn't mean the conversation starts with them right away. It's not going to start until the recruiter starts it, but it does put me in their waiting line. And the other great thing is when I'm in their queue, it marks me with a little icon so that they know when they see me in their conversation queue, waiting in the line to talk with them, they can see that I'm someone that they invited to talk with. If you don't see these icons, it's just because of your browser, and you might have to click on that those 3 vertical dots, that more icon, and then you'll see these icons available under this. So anytime you think you should see an icon and you don't, look for this more icon and click on that, and you'll see the icons. Just depends what browser you're using. Okay, so now we're logging into the event. We've accepted any invitations that we have, and now we're going to go exploring the lobby. And you can click on the booth name or on the reps link, and it'll take you to that booth. So for example, here in a previous event, I've entered the SAIC booth, and there's a couple things I can see here. First of all, it shows me how many people are waiting in each of these conversation queues. And it also shows me their greetings, which we talked about before. So be sure and read each recruiter's greeting, because when you enter a conversation queue, if I click here, I'm entering this recruiter's conversation queue. The green dot tells me that that recruiter is currently logged in and active in the event. If their dot was grayed out, it would let me know that that recruiter hasn't logged into the event or is not logged in right now, and I would not be able to enter their conversation queue. So you can only enter the queues of the recruiters who have the green dot and they're currently logged in and active. And we ask that you only enter one recruiter's conversation queue per booth, because there's a lot more of you than there are of the recruiters. Please pick one recruiter. And again, it might depend on who's got the shortest line or whose greeting makes the most sense for you to talk to that person. And then you just click enter conversation queue, and it puts you in their queue and puts you waiting in their line. And also I want to show you this general questions, because in each booth that you visit, there's also this general questions section that's visible to anybody who comes to the booth. So if you have just a general question, not something private that should be shared when you're in a one-on-one conversation with that recruiter, but if you just have a general question about the company, you could type it in here. Just type your question in this box and click send, and it will show up here in the general questions for anyone to see. And the recruiters, as they have time, they will be monitoring this general questions box, and they'll be answering those questions. Also, anytime you have a text box on the event, you can click and drag that bottom corner to make the box larger in case you want to see more of what you're typing. You can just click that and drag it down, and it'll make this text box larger. Okay, so let's say I entered that SAIC recruiters conversation queue. Now I go back to the lobby, I go to another booth, and I can enter another conversation queue, and it's going to save my place in all of the queues. You can be in as many conversation queues as you would like, but we ask just one per booth. And when your turn comes up, the recruiter will start the conversation with you, and you will get, there will be an audible ping. So you might want to make sure your speakers are turned up. And you'll also see this pop-up box on your screen that lets you know that this recruiter has started the conversation. I've been waiting in her line, and now she's started the conversation with me. And this will say 10 minutes, not 19 minutes. And you click go to conversation, and the recruiter's probably already in that conversation waiting for you. And this is what that's going to look like. And now you can only have one conversation with the recruiter at a time. So while you're in a conversation with this recruiter, the other lines that you're waiting in, your place is being held in those conversation queues. Those recruiters can't start the conversation with you. You're shown in their queue as currently unavailable, but they know that that means you're in a conversation right now, and they'll come back to you. You will not lose your place in those other lines while you're chatting with a recruiter. And then as soon as your conversation with this recruiter is over, you will show as available again in all of the other lines that you're waiting in. And the next recruiter who's ready to start the conversation with you will start it, and that goes all over again. You'll get that audible ping and a message on the screen. So while you're in the conversation with the recruiter, this is what it will look like. It shows you over to the left here what the recruiter is seeing about you. So here you can see, here's my eCareer Fairs information, and also they're previewing my resume that I have uploaded to eCareer Fairs that I aligned with the registration for this job fair. That's the resume the recruiter can see while they're chatting with me. So it's nice that it shows you what the recruiter sees about you on the screen while you're chatting. And then over here to the right side, it shows you who you're talking with right now. And this is where you can actually type in or copy and paste in what you wanted to say to that recruiter. They might already have, this is the dialog box where your dialogue is going to be shown. And they might have already typed something to you. And so then you can type back and click send, and it'll show up in that dialog box, and you can talk back and forth. And then again, as you're talking with the recruiter, they might choose to change it to a video chat, so be prepared for that. But chances are you'll just have text chats during the event. Also, then you'll have this end now link where you or the recruiter can end the conversation at any time. But before you end it, I recommend you ask them for their email address so that you can properly follow up with them after the event. Sometimes they'll share their email with you, sometimes they won't, but it doesn't hurt to ask. And anything that they type in here, you'll have access to those transcripts later. So don't feel like you have to take notes about what they're telling you in this text box, because you'll see all of these transcripts after the event, and I'll show you where you find that. Then once the conversation has ended, whether you ended it or they ended it, you'll see these buttons where it lets you go either back to the lobby or back to that booth. And now you're available again for any lines that you're waiting in. Now you're shown as available to those recruiters. And you can go back to the lobby and repeat, join some more conversation queues, and keep it going. If you're waiting in line and your turn is just not coming up, because keep in mind, we've got a lot more job seekers than we have recruiters available to talk. But if you find yourself waiting in line, that is another good time to do more research, not only on eCareer Fairs and researching all this information that's in the lobby about each company, but also from your Corporate Gray account too. Also, in each booth during the event, you'll have this, if you look way down at the bottom of the booth, there's going to be this leave your resume link. And that lets you, let's say you come to a booth and it's getting close to the event ending. Or maybe you see that the lines are really long and there's nowhere they're going to get to you before the event ends. Then you can go ahead and just leave your resume. Click on this. It lets you not only leave your resume at the booth, but also a note to the recruiters. And all of the recruiters in that booth will have access to your note and your resume after the event. So that's another good way to reach out to those recruiters. That event status bar, again, you'll want to click on that to explore it and make sure you check your invites in case you have any. I don't have any here, but that's okay. And also, this is where you'll see how much time is remaining and the link to leave the event. You want to click here when you're ready to leave the event. Don't just close your browser. The reason for that is if you just close your browser, you're not actually logging out of the event. You're still in those waiting lines. You have to actually click that leave event link in that blue bar at the bottom in order to be removed from any queues you've been waiting in. It's also when you do that, it's going to give you a summary of all your conversations. And recruiters then will see that you're no longer available to talk. If you just close your browser, let's say you're waiting in a lot of queues and then you accidentally close your browser, no worries. You haven't clicked the leave event link. So you can just open up your browser because as long as you open it within 20 minutes, you're still showing as available. So open up your browser, go back into eCareer Fairs, and you'll be right back where you started. Your place is saved in those lines. One other thing during the event, you're going to see this event support link on the right side of your screen. So that if you're having any technical difficulties with the event on eCareer Fairs, you can click on this and it's going to open up a text chat box between you and the eCareer Fairs support staff, and they can answer any technical questions or trouble you're having. So that's how the event works. And now after the event, there's some things that we recommend you do when the event is over. And one of those is to review your conversations. And that is that My Events page that I showed you has those handy icons. They're either going to be here below the event, or they're going to be in this more icon. You'll see it there. And you want to click on the chat bubble because that's going to show you your interview history. And it's going to list all of the recruiters and companies that you talked to. And you can click the chat bubble for each one, and it'll actually expand that and let you even download if you want that transcript of the conversations you had. Also, we recommend you follow up with the recruiters that you talk with during the event. If you got their email while you were talking with them, that's great. That's a great way to follow up with them. Maybe they told you about some jobs you didn't know about. Go ahead and apply to those jobs and then follow up with that recruiter and say, hey, thank you for that information you shared with me. I went ahead and applied to this. I look forward to hearing back from you about next steps. Just reach out to them and thank them for any information they gave you during the event and just get back on their radar again. If you didn't get their email, then look for them on LinkedIn and message them that way. Invite them to join your network. Remind them that you chatted with them at the event and invite them to join your network. Or if they're already in your network, you can message them on LinkedIn. And also, don't just reach out to recruiters. I know I already said this, but it's really big for your job search. Reach out to just other people who work at the companies you're interested in. And you're not reaching out to ask for a job, you're reaching out to get information from them about their company. Chances are they're very excited that you're interested in their company, and they're happy to share information with you that can help you with your job search and also help you know if that company is even a good fit for you. And again, all of this advice is in that PDF guide that we've shared with you. And if you did not receive the guide, please send an email to me. My email's in the chat box, and I'm happy to send you that guide. Also, we're going to have a recording on our YouTube channel, and I put the link in the chat box. The recording to this should be up on our YouTube channel by tomorrow. And I'm going to look in the chat box and see if we have any questions that people have. Feel free to put your questions in the chat box.
Folks, it's Carl Savino again. I just want to reinforce the importance of searching and applying for positions in advance, and then using your chat time during the event to reinforce to that company recruiter why you think you're a good fit. So again, you should apply in advance, then type up, as Karen explained, type up a document. In that document, you should, for example, put the company name, the job requisition number, the position that aligns with the position that you applied for. And if I were in your shoes, I would indicate or type up 3 reasons why I thought I was a good fit for that opportunity. So from our experience now, having done this for a year, we can honestly say that's going to help you get the best bang for your buck with regard to this event. So again, please research the companies, look at their job openings, apply in advance, type up why the rationale as to why you think you're a good fit, and you're much better prepared when you do that to copy and paste as opposed to be trying to type in why you think you're a good fit during the event. And again, as Karen explained, I'm going to reinforce one more time, use those LinkedIn connections at those companies. Sometimes we're asked, I've heard the question, well, what if I don't know anybody at one of those companies? You probably know someone who knows someone at one of those firms. So look at your second level connections as well. Ideally, you want to use your first level LinkedIn connections, but if you don't have any first level LinkedIn connections, look at your second level LinkedIn connections and ask them for help in connecting with the right person at these firms. Oftentimes, those interactions with those people who are currently working at those companies will lead to an employee referral. And I can tell you, at least for here in the Washington, D.C. area, almost 40% of how most people get their job is through an employee referral. That is when someone who's already working for that company refers you into their firm. So again, thank you very much for listening to this webinar. I hope, and Karen hopes, that you got a lot out of it. We are available to answer any questions you may have. Karen's put her email address in, Karen@corporategray.com. That's K-A-R-I-N, Karen@corporategray.com. I'm Carl, C-A-R-L, @corporategray.com.
And
So,
we have one question, good question, asking if we have statistics in regard to how many attendees have received follow-up interviews, offers, or hires from our past events. We don't actually have companies getting back to us on how many interviews and how many hires they've made. But I will tell you that the more research you do ahead of time, and the more prepared you come for the event, the more you'll make out of the job fair. And also following up, don't wait for the recruiter to follow up with you. Be proactive about following up and, put the ball in your own court and, follow some of these techniques that we've given you to help increase your chances of getting to the next level.
I would also add to what Karen just said, our litmus test for whether or not companies are seeing these events as successful is a reflection of how many times they then want to come to a future event, repeat occurrence at our events. And I can tell you it's very high. Again, we're not a staffing firm. We're providing a vehicle to connect job seekers with employers. They don't have a requirement to report back to us. We're not charging them any additional fee. So again, we don't have those detailed stats, but we know anecdotally the companies certainly have made hires from these events. And as I said, a very high percentage of them have come back and repeat business tells us they're finding good value from participating in our Corporate Gray events. They like the candidates with whom they interact. So again, as Karen and I have both said, be positive, be proactive. Most of the work you're going to do in preparation for this event should be done ahead of the event, right? So 80 to 90% of your efforts ought to have taken place prior to Friday's job fair. Karen?
And the job fair hours, again, are 11 a.m. Eastern to 2 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure you put the time right on your calendar so you don't miss it, those of you who are in a different time zone. And 3 hours, you can make a lot of great connections at the event. We wish you the best of luck. And if you think of questions later, you're welcome to email me.
Have a good afternoon, everyone. Thanks again for participating. Bye now.